Imagine you're 19 years old, you just graduated from medical school yesterday, and today you're sitting in the open doorway of a UH-1 Huey helicopter over the Vietnamese jungle. Below you is a green ocean where every tree can hide an enemy. The deafening roar of the blades filled my ears. In his hands is a medical bag with morphine, bandages and tourniquets. There's a pistol on your side, which you're unlikely to be able to use because both hands will be busy saving lives. On the radio they shout, "Dynamite 5-2. Dynamite 5-2, 3 stretches, critical, immediately." This means that somewhere down in this green hell, 3 of your compatriots are bleeding to death. They have a maximum of 10 minutes to get to the surgeon. And you are their only chance. A helicopter with the Red Cross on board is descending. According to the Geneva Convention, you should not be fired upon. But the Viet Cong ignore conventions. For them, a medical helicopter is a priority target. To shoot it down means to deprive the enemy not only of doctors, but also of hope. You're unarmed, unprotected, and flying right into bullets. You have 30 seconds on the ground to get the wounded man on board. If you delay, everyone will die. It was a normal working day for the medics of the 283rd Helicopter Squadron in Vietnam. The call sign is Rebel 6. The mission is to save where it is impossible to save. Enemies are bullets, time, blood loss, and your own welcome to a day in their lives. A day that will end at home for someone, in the operating room for someone, and for some it won't end at all. 6:30 dawn at the base. A military base in central Vietnam is waking up with the sun. The barracks of the 283rd Medical Helicopter Squadron is filled with the smell of cheap coffee and cigarette smoke. 4 people are preparing for the shift: Marcelino Burgos, medic, 19 years old, Gibson Jr. Medic, 21 years old, William Nelson, pilot, 25 years old, and Captain Bill Colbert, crew commander, 32 years old. Burgos methodically checks the contents of the medical bag for the 5th time this morning. Bandages, tourniquets, morphine syringes, saline solution, scissors, tweezers. Everything is in place, but he checks again. Because at an altitude of thousands of meters above the hostile jungle, a forgotten tourniquet can cost a person his life. Gibson smokes silently by the window, looking at the tree line beyond the perimeter. He's been here for 4 months now. I've seen enough to know that a calm morning doesn't guarantee a calm day. There is no front line in Vietnam. The front is everywhere. The war can start at any second, anywhere. Nelson studies the map, plots approximate routes to famous hotspots. Colbert checks the radio connection, adjusts the frequencies. Routine, the same as yesterday, the same thing that will happen tomorrow, if they live to see tomorrow. 7:45, the first call. Breakfast is interrupted by the sharp crackle of a walkie-talkie. Dynamite 5-2. Dynamite 5-2. Contact with the enemy. The position is under fire. We need an evacuation. 3 stretchers. Severe injuries. Dynamite 5-2 is a universal emergency medical evacuation code. When you hear it, everyone knows it's counting by the minute. The crew takes off. They run to the helicopter. Engine start, 30 seconds. The screech of the turbine, the growing roar of the blades, the vibration that you feel with your whole body. 90 seconds after the call, Huey is already in the air, rapidly gaining altitude above the base. The coordinates have been received. The distance is 12 kilometers. Travel time is 8 minutes. Rice fields, thatched villages, and winding rivers flash by below. Nicely, deadly beautiful. Somewhere out there, in this beauty, there are people hiding with machine guns who dream of shooting down a medical helicopter. Colbert is on the radio requesting confirmation. What is the color of the smoke signal? Standard security procedure. The Viet Cong learned how to mimic American radio calls by luring helicopters into traps. Every challenge is a potential ambush. Yellow smoke, replies a voice from the ground. Ahead, in a small clearing among the jungle, a column of yellow smoke rises. The coordinates match. Figures can be seen in the clearing, American soldiers waving their arms. This time it's not a trap. 7:56, landing in the fire zone. The helicopter is descending. The pilot sees that a full landing is impossible. The clearing is riddled with craters, stumps and debris everywhere. The car hovers at a height of 1.5 meters above the ground. The blades cut through the air above the very tops of the trees. One wrong maneuver and the Huey would crash. Burgos and Gibson jump down with a stretcher, ducking under the blades. The ground is soft and sinking underfoot. Something heavy was recently blown up here. The air smells of gunpowder and burnt grass. The first wounded man lies at the edge of the clearing. Shrapnel wound to the abdomen. The doctor quickly covers the wound with a wet sterile cloth and fixes it with a bandage. You cannot try to set the insides back, so you can get an infection. Just cover it up and fix it. The second wounded man has a severed foot, and a tourniquet on his thigh has already been applied by his comrades. But the tourniquet lasts for 20 minutes, then tissue necrosis begins. We must hurry. The third is wounded in the chest, wheezing, choking on blood. Pneumothorax. The lung is punctured, air accumulates in the chest, squeezes the heart. Without urgent decompression, he will die in 5 minutes. The doctors work smoothly, quickly, without saying a word. All 3 wounded men were dragged aboard in 40 seconds. The helicopter is rapidly gaining altitude. There's gunfire from the jungle below, bullets whizzing by but missing. I got lucky this time. 8:05, in the air. The operating room is at an altitude of 1,000 meters. The real work begins in the cockpit of the helicopter. A wounded man with a pneumothorax suffocates. Gibson takes out a thick needle, finds the right point between the ribs, and abruptly inserts it. A whistle is heard, the air comes out of the chest. The wounded man takes a shuddering breath. He's breathing. While he's still breathing, Burgos puts an IV on the second wounded man, who has lost a lot of blood and needs saline solution to maintain blood pressure. My hands are shaking not from fear, but from adrenaline and the constant vibration of the helicopter. The third wounded man, who was shot in the stomach, is conscious and trying to say something. Burgos leans closer. I won't live to see it, will I? The soldier whispers. You'll live to see it, the medic replies firmly. We'll take you. Be patient for another 10 minutes. He's injecting morphine. The pain needs to be stopped, otherwise the pain shock will kill sooner than the injury. The journey time to the field hospital is 12 minutes. 12 minutes, during which the doctors do everything possible, stop the bleeding, support breathing, control the pulse. 8:17, Field Hospital. The helicopter lands at the field hospital, a large tent with a red cross on the roof. The wounded are quickly carried out on stretchers and handed over to surgeons. The helicopter squad's medics don't go any further, their work is done. Now it's the doctor's turn. Captain Lloyd Jason Roy meets new patients. He's 32 years old, but he looks 50. Before the war, he was an ordinary pharmacist in a small town, distributing headache pills to pensioners. He decided he wanted more. He studied to be a surgeon. He volunteered for Vietnam. Now he performs 6 to 8 operations a day. Removes bullets and fragments, stitches up arteries, amputates what cannot be saved. He works in a tent with a dirty floor, where instead of an air conditioner there is a fan, and instead of sterility there are flies and a 45-degree heat. All 3 are sent to the operating room. 10:30 a.m. The second call. The crew of the Rebel 6 refueled, had a snack, and was ready for the next flight. You don't have to wait long. A new challenge, a village on the outskirts of a war zone. The artillery shell hit the wrong target. The victims are civilians. When the helicopter lands, the medics see a picture that haunts their nightmares, a young woman sobbing over the body of a little girl. The child is about 5 years old, shot in the head, dead. Nearby there is an old man without an arm, 2 injured teenagers, and another unconscious woman. Gibson runs up to the mother, trying to lead her away from her daughter's body. She breaks free, shouts something in Vietnamese that doesn't need to be translated to understand. She is being dragged onto a helicopter by force. She herself has a bullet wound in her shoulder. She is bleeding. The old man is loaded next. Then the teenagers. There are only 6 victims. 4 will survive. 2 are not. In the helicopter, the mother does not stop screaming. Burgos tries to treat her wound. She pushes his hands away, scratches, cries. He understands. It's not just the pain of injury. It's the pain of the world collapsing. That the daughter is dead. That the war had come to her house and taken away her most precious thing. Later, in the barracks, Gibson confesses to a comrade, this is the hardest part. Not soldiers. The soldiers knew what they were doing. And these people just lived. They just planted rice and raised children. And now it's over. 14:20, the day continues. The third flight. The patrol was ambushed. The positions were under mortar fire. The helicopter flies to the evacuation point, and suddenly the pilot sees a huge cloud of black smoke ahead. The jungle is on fire. It has just been treated with napalm. There are 2 options: to fly around for more than 7 minutes. The wounded may not make it, or straight through the fire, risk to the engine, turbulence, you may fall. Nelson makes a decision, straight ahead. Hold on tight. He shouts into the intercom. The helicopter dives into the black and orange haze. Visibility drops to 0. The temperature in the cabin is jumping. The car is tossed around like a toy. A few endless seconds, and the helicopter breaks out on the other side. The engine is roaring normally. The blades are intact. The crew is alive. Lucky again. The wounded are being taken away from the landing zone under automatic fire. One of them dies right on board before reaching the hospital. Doctors are trying to resuscitate, indirect heart massage, artificial respiration. Uselessly, too much blood has been lost. When the helicopter lands at the hospital, Burgos gets out, sits on the ground, lights a cigarette with trembling hands. 1700, Saigon, rescue headquarters. While helicopter crews are rescuing the wounded in the jungle, a huge logistics machine is operating in Saigon. The headquarters of the Far Eastern Joint Medical Directorate coordinates the evacuation of thousands of wounded around the world. General Howell Anastas Jr. stands in front of a huge map dotted with colored pins. Every pin is a wounded soldier. Red is a critical condition. Yellow is stable. The green ones are outpatient. Directives are sent from here every day to 100 air bases in 40 countries. Every day, dozens of C-141 Starlifter planes take off, carrying wounded people halfway around the world, from Vietnam to the Philippines, Japan, Hawaii, and California. The system works like this: a helicopter picks up a wounded man from the battlefield and delivers him to a field hospital. They stabilize and operate there, if necessary, then to an evacuation center in a major city. From there, take a plane. And then, depending on the severity of the injury, either to the nearest major hospital or immediately to the United States. The average time from injury to surgery in a full-fledged hospital is 6 to 8 hours. In World War II, it was days or weeks. The difference is thousands of lives saved. 1930, in the sky over the Pacific Ocean, a hospital at an altitude of 10,000 meters. There are 32 patients in serious condition and 26 stable on board the C-141 flying from Vietnam to the Philippines. In an hour and a half, the cargo plane was turned into a flying hospital, 4 tiers of stretchers, oxygen supply, and medical equipment. The head nurse is Major Lola Ball, 38 years old, a veteran of the Korean War. She goes around each wounded man, checks his pulse, blood pressure, and changes bandages. She knows that not only the physical condition of the patients depends on her, but also the moral one. If she's calm, they're calm. Among the wounded is Dennis Aldridge, who was operated on by Captain Reut. Dennis sleeps on morphine. He will have another operation in the Philippines to remove the remaining fragment from his lung. Next to him is Raymond Hogel, 22 years old, with lower body paralysis after the bunker collapsed. He's awake, staring out the window. When the nurse asks how he feels, he smiles. "I'm flying home, so everything is fine." The flight lasts 8 hours. Light turbulence, thunderstorms off the route. The pilots drive the car as smoothly as possible. They follow the principle of patients and not cargo. When the plane lands, the wounded are met by doctors at Clark Hospital. Dennis is being taken to the operating room. Raymond's going to the rehabilitation ward. Everyone will receive treatment, and everyone will fly on home to America. 2200, end of shift. When the day finally ends, the crew of the Rebel 6 is returning to base after its 7th flight of the day. 7 missions. 23 wounded have been evacuated. 2 died. 21 chances at life. Burgos and Gibson silently wash their hands, washing away the blood that has ingrained under their nails. Nelson and Colbert are sitting by the helicopter, smoking, looking at the stars. "Tomorrow again?" Gibson asks. "Again tomorrow," Colbert replies. They know that tomorrow there will be new challenges. New wounded, new flights through the fire, new lives that need to be saved, and, perhaps, new deaths that cannot be prevented. But they keep going, because someone has to, because there are 19-year-old boys dying in the jungle who want to go home. And as long as there is at least one chance to save them, the medics will fly. During the Vietnam War, medical helicopter units evacuated more than 900,000 wounded. The survival rate was 82%, the highest in the history of wars. Each rescued person is the result of the work of hundreds of people: doctors, pilots, surgeons, nurses, and coordinators. Many of them could not forget what they had seen for the rest of their lives. But they were proud of what they were doing, because they were still human in the hell of war. People who save, not kill.